Guys, this is for 30-year-old women who are Christian and still single. I'll start by saying this. I turned 30 last year. I'm going to be 31 this fall. I have never been asked out on a date in my life, and I mean that. Never. I've never been approached by a guy. I've never had a man show interest in me. And I would never have admitted to that a couple years ago. I was ashamed and embarrassed about that. I was like, oh, it's because I'm stupid maybe, or, I'm not attractive, or all these things. Like, I thought it was a deficiency in me. But I have been hearing from other women the exact same thing, especially Christian women, where it's like, no one, I'm 27, I'm 28, I've never been asked out. And so I think there's a problem on both sides. I think that women get blamed a lot, where people will say, you hoard yourself in your 20s, and, you cared about your career and you did all these things to keep men away from you. And I think I never did any of that stuff. And I know a lot of other women who didn't do that stuff. And they're just, men aren't asking women out maybe. I don't know.
They're confused, frustrated, and starting to ask the question they never thought they would: why don't men approach us anymore? Clips are going viral of women wondering why men no longer talk to them, flirt with them, or even make eye contact. But the answer isn't complicated, it's consequence.
Currently on the planet, there is no one with more audacity and gall and confidence than the men right now. I'm telling you, they need to package it up and sell that. That would save the economy. Because 2 instances this week that are mind-blowing for me. One, because they just happened like back to back, but I'm like, y'all are actually insane. One, this man, I'm walking to a Nordstrom, you gotta cross the street from the parking lot, whatever, go in, there's a bunch of different stores over there, yada yada. He apparently sees me walk across the street and then hurry up, parks his car, and goes looking for me. I'm already in the store minding my business, trying on a shoe. He comes in panting, out of breath, da da da. He's like, oh my god, I found you. I'm like, wait, what the I'm already barefoot trying on my shoe, and he's like, I found you. And I'm like, you found who? Who? I don't know you. And he's like, I went to the other store, and then I went to this other store looking for you, and I finally found you. Who are you? And he's like, you were just so pretty, I saw you walking, so I just went looking for you. I had to find you. What? And he's like, yeah, can I take you out? Can I get your number? Is that not insane? I would literally think, no, you scaring the hoes. Like, no, like, that's scary. Why would somebody want to, like, what? And I'm just like, oh. So I'm like, I always have to give my number, because men are insane. Like, they will call you right there to make sure you gave them the right number, like all these type of things. And I'm just not trying to die off of a number. Okay, I'll give you my number and block you as soon as I'm in a safe area. So that's just insane. So let me know if y'all thought that was insane, or if that was just, I don't know, I guess chivalrous, or like.
So wait a minute. Because honestly, I thought that this was going in a different direction. I thought that she was going to say that men wasn't checking for her, or somehow men didn't no longer approached or anything like that, because I'm getting 2 different types of videos that's being sent to me. Now, I didn't know what this video was going to say, but the first type of videos that I'm seeing is women that are begging, losing their minds over the idea that men are no longer approaching. When they go into spots, they only party with each other. If you give them a choosing signal, then sometimes they'll speak, but they gonna have to start shooting their own shot. As far as the women having to shoot their shot at the men, that they just have too much confidence, all of this other stuff. But then you got this woman right here that's basically saying that it's scary and you're scaring the hoes because a guy is going out of his way to actually try to approach you and respectfully ask you, could he take you out? And she didn't say that he said anything crazy. She just said that it was scary.
Years of shaming, rejection, and false accusations have pushed men to stop playing a game that only gets them punished.
Men no longer come up to women. I asked this in a TikTok last week, and it got so many comments, especially from men. And I just want to preface this with, this was no shade to men. This post was no shade to men, and neither is this one. I was just genuinely curious and asking. I love men, I think they're awesome, and I think that they're a little confused right now. But most of their responses said something like, we were told not to go up to you guys, and we were told that you want to be left alone, and you just want your own space, and you don't want us approaching you. Which for some women, that can absolutely be true, but I love meeting people in person, and I just think that it takes a confident person to go up to someone when you see them in person, and I think it's a really cool way to meet people rather than meeting people online. Men were also saying things like they were called creeps and weirdos, and they don't want to be called that. It's not a pleasant experience. But I will say that it has to do with how you approach a woman. Like, for example, myself and my friends have had men come up to us with a really, really intense energy, like a very in-your-face energy, and they're really nervous and they're kind of scattered and they're very pushy or weird, and their energy is just off. And one of the most attractive things to a woman is emotional intelligence, and that shows within like the first few seconds of meeting someone when they introduce themselves to you. So if you're gonna go up to a woman, just like take a calm, deep breath. If you see a woman working on her laptop or something at a cafe, you can go up to her and be like, hey, my name is so-and-so. I thought you were really beautiful and you seem interesting. I would love to get to know you more if you're interested, and then slipping her your number on a napkin or something, you know? Like just coming up to women with a calm energy and not giving off this like needy energy or this like pushy energy. I think that is what women don't like. I think it's really sweet and cute to be approached in person, and I know that there's a lot of women like me. There's probably some women out there who don't want to be approached, and that's fine, and it's hard to tell who's who. But I think you can tell when you go up to a girl kind of right away if she'd be interested or not based on her body language, and just be calm and natural and don't overthink it. You know, I know that's easier said than done. I've only gone up to a man once in my whole life, but I think that might help. I don't know, I think I'm just someone who's very interested in people interacting with each other and having experiences and building community. And I think the world is growing more and more introverted and people are on their phones more, and I just think it's beautiful to meet people out and in person, and I just don't want to lose that as a humanity.
In today's world, a man can't even say hello without being labeled creepy. A compliment becomes harassment. A friendly conversation becomes unwanted attention. So men stop trying. Why take the risk of embarrassment, rejection, or even career damage just to be laughed at or posted online for likes? Men have realized that silence is safer than sincerity.
This dating coaches, they're not really doing their clients any service because, like, you know, talking to me, like, I'm not saying the hottest girl in the world, but like, he should go up to someone that would want him to approach him. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're just learning to accept rejection, or I don't know if it was, but I was kind of, why me? Like, why did it have to come to me? Go to women that want you to approach them. Like, think about who wants this. Not me.
I never really understand hating on someone that is trying to go outside their comfort zone, whether it's a man or a woman. They're doing something that makes them nervous. That is an impact that I would never want to give a man, no matter how far out of his league I thought I was. Because honestly, to think that you're outside anyone's league is kind of gross.
Men not confident enough to walk up to women now. See, shout out to the guys who are confident enough to walk up to women. The masculinity on earth has diminished drastically, that guys don't even come up to you anymore. They'll just stare at you from a distance. As a woman who's trying to embody her feminine energy, you're not going to catch me going up to the guy. You're just not. We can just stare at each other. Shout out to the guys who are confident enough to walk up to women, because guys don't do that anymore. If God were to guarantee that your 20th person would be the love of your life, you would be so happy to be rejected by all 19. So why are men not confident enough to walk up to women now? We don't chase. We signal like, you can come up to me now. But all men do is just look at you now. And of course, like, if the woman is interested, she's going to keep looking your way too. But it just like stays like that. Nothing ever happens because men don't walk up to women anymore. Or they're just tired of being rejected. But it's like, if God were to tell you that you're going to go through 20 rejections before you get to your yes, and that's going to be the love of your life, you guys would be so happy to go through all 20 because you were just so closer to the love of your life.
Women say they want confident men to approach them, but when it happens, they mock them on social media, compare them to others, or record it for clout. The dating culture has turned into a spectacle where genuine interest is ridiculed, and arrogance is rewarded. Men watched, learned, and adapted. They didn't fight back with anger, they simply walked away.
Okay. I have some thoughts about why I don't think men approach women, specifically in New York City. Maybe I can generalize to all metropolitan cities in general. This is coming from a girl who has been in a long-term relationship for over 5 years. So if that triggers you, please scroll, because fair, I don't have like actual in the field experience with this. But I have noticed this with all my friends who are majority single in New York. And when I go out with them, even large groups of women, which I know are very intimidating, I wouldn't approach a large group of women either. And also small groups of women, like I'm talking like 2 or 3 girls, where it's a more approachable number of women. Why I think this is not happening as often as we would like, or historically, is because I think women just have more autonomy now. I believe like back in the 1900s, 1800s, women couldn't own land, couldn't vote, didn't even think they could ever have a career. That never crossed their minds. They were trad wives living at home, supporting their husband, raising children, birthing children. Yes, of course, like many women still do that, and as they should and are, it's totally fine. But a reason why I don't think men are approaching women these days is because we're equaling the playing field. We have careers. We are basically attaining what men also want, which is success. Many are businesswomen. Sometimes we can make more than men. You know, these things are happening. It's real. We aren't just spending time at home. We aren't just focusing on getting married and raising children. And specifically in New York City and metropolitan cities, it's just like there's a larger population of women who aren't as focused as being a stay-at-home wife as maybe somewhere, another city. Therefore, when man and woman enter a bar, man probably doesn't feel like a woman is as accessible to them. And this could be a total generalization. So, I mean, please don't like be mean, but I really do believe men are mostly intimidated by women because women have more autonomy now. And I'm not pro-feminist. I'm not like, raw, we hate men. I really just do believe the playing fields are equal. And I also put the pressure on women too. I'm like, I think we should be going up to men. Like, if it really is, if those of you who are complaining that men are not approaching you, like, yes, I don't really believe chivalry is dead, but it's really dwindling. I think you guys should take it upon yourself to approach men as well. I think being your true and most authentic form of yourself is the most important way to attract a man that is compatible to you. Always be yourself. But number 2, I really do think men like confident women. And also, if you're attracted to a woman that's confident, like, you guys are going to find each other if a woman's approaching you. So all this to say is I don't think men are approaching women in New York City and other cities because we're equals. And I think they're intimidated. And also everybody fears rejection, but rejection is probably more feasible these days because we got our own bag.
For years, the narrative has been that women don't need men, that independence means rejecting masculine presence. But now, those same women sit at bars and cafes, wondering why no one approaches. Men heard the message loud and clear, we don't need you. So they listened. They focused on themselves, their work, their peace, and left the dating scene behind.
Guys do not approach you at the bar, not because you're not pretty, but it's because of this. I've been going to the bars every weekend with my friends, maybe for the past couple months, and I love it. I love socializing, and I'm single. And my friend and I were talking at the bar the other weekend, and we were talking about how we've never been approached by a single guy before. Like, maybe ever, which is just insane to think about. Like, I can name a couple occurrences where they have, but it was like people from Europe, and they're like a different breed of people, okay? So I feel like the culture in America is way different. Guys do not want to approach you, not because of how pretty you are or how you look, but it's really because they're scared of you. And then us women over here who are single are thinking like, we look amazing, we did our makeup, we chose the perfect outfit. Why aren't all these guys coming up to us? Even if we're not into them, why don't they just come up just to like make us feel good about ourselves? Okay, now I want you to think of the perspective of a guy. I'll never know what's in a man's head, but I have a pretty good idea from like my guy friends and going out a lot. Guys are intimidated by you, okay? They don't all have that courage or charisma or just bravery to go up to you like you have to somebody else. And on top of just being intimidated by going up to a stranger in general, you're probably surrounded by a big group of friends. And even worse if you're surrounded by your guy friends, because they're gonna assume that you're dating one of them, and no one wants to go up to a girl who's surrounded by a bunch of guys, okay? It's just a cock block. So now you're probably thinking, okay, we have this information, but what do we do with it? First off, I don't really think bars are the best place to really find a relationship. It's great to meet people, have fun, really get to know other people. But if you're putting all your eggs in one basket and really putting so much pressure on finding a guy that will take you seriously, that's going to be very hard. The other thing is that we always make fun of dating apps a lot, but I think the percentage is something like 60% of people now meet their significant other on the internet. Because people don't go up to other people anymore because they know they can meet you on a dating app. It's so much easier. This past Saturday, I literally went up to a group of guys and was like, do you want to play cards? I wasn't attracted to any of them, but I'm so happy I did it because I made a new group of friends and it was so much fun. And initially I thought that they weren't that fun. Like they just seemed like they were like moping around. They all had RBFs, like whatever, and I went up to them and they ended up being the funniest group of guys ever. And I'm sure a lot of guys think of you that way too. You might have like an RBF or just you don't seem approachable, but little do they know how you really are. So the takeaway from this video is that guys not coming up to you out in public says nothing about you. You can literally be like Gigi Hadid and a guy's still not going to come up to you. Guys are intimidated and it takes so much courage to go up to a girl. And a lot of guys are cheap and just don't want to buy you a drink, and they're scared of getting used for a drink, which kind of sucks, but I understand. So do not weigh your worth in whether or not people come up to you, because you are probably way more stunning and people are probably way more attracted to you than you think they are.
Now, the silence is deafening. Women look around and wonder where all the good men have gone. But those men haven't disappeared, they've just withdrawn from a game they can't win. They've learned that validation isn't found in a stranger's approval, but in self-respect and purpose.
Okay, here are some of my theories why men don't approach women in public. Okay, number one, I think they have had a super horrible, traumatic experience with like literally one woman. Like one woman really did them so dirty that traumatized them moving forward. Like they can't even move forward because they're still so hurt from the past one experience that they're moving from a place of hurt and not from like a healed perspective. 2, men have a very sensitive ego. And they rather protect that ego from it getting bruised just a little bit, just simply by a rejection from a woman, than to actually go and pursue something. Okay, and 3rd point. Men have it way too easy now with all the dating apps and Instagram and sliding into someone's DMs. Like, why would they want to do that in public when they can just choose the easy way out and do it through social media behind a screen?
The truth is simple. Men didn't stop approaching because they gave up on women. They stopped because society gave up on respect. This has been the Sigma Chronicles, where truth cuts deeper than comfort. Stay sharp. Stay Sigma.
And I don't know, I wanted to ask you, men don't come up and ask or talk to you anymore. There was this cute guy. He went to the bar at one point, so I was like, oh, let me go to the bar too. So I like saddled up next to him at the bar and kind of like gave like a look. And he looked right at me and then like looked away. I was like, okay, well, never mind. Like I was seeing something that apparently wasn't actually happening. And as we left, one of the other bachelorettes on this trip was like, oh my gosh, that guy kept looking at you. Did you guys talk? I was like, wait, what? You saw it too? I guess I could have said, hi, how are you? I don't know why I didn't. I guess I was like, I made that move. Meet me the other 75% of the way or whatever it is.
It is becoming like that. Like, I think that there's a shift in it. And honestly, women have to take more of the reins in a way.
That's a valid question, and I'm able to answer that for you. All right. The reason why that is happening is because there's a lot of risk for men to approach women. Okay? Risk number one. Remember what happened in the Me Too movement? There's a lot of women that called out a lot of men for their behavior that was really, well, they needed to be called out. Rightfully so. But what happened is that a lot of men that were not creepy or didn't have any creepy intentions were being called out as well. And the worst thing that you don't want to be called creep as a man, right? So, what happened is that, well, we don't approach people. That's it. Well, just don't be a creep. That does not necessarily depend on what I do, right? This also depends on how you feel. Peep game. Remember 50 Shades of Grey, right? Christian Grey was Christian Grey just because he was good looking, had money, and the lady was attracted to him. If he didn't have money, if she was not attracted to him, he would be in jail, okay? We know that. That's a fact. But if Christian Grey is the way that he looks, with the little gray eyes and everything and stuff, woman fantasy. How do I know if I'm a Christian Grey of someone? You know what I mean? I don't have to go to that extent, but there's a risk. And there's also a lot of people are saying, well, what's the worst thing that you can say? The worst thing that you can say is no, that's not true. The worst thing that you can say is ew. And I know it happened to me, but that's besides the point, right? So, I think the dynamics has changed. You know, if you want to be more independent, if you want to have emancipation, right? Well, it comes with that. It comes with you having to do the work, you having to approach now. You know what I mean? The reason why men was approaching is that women couldn't be seen as too promiscuous. So they had to not approach. It was the men doing the approaching. You understand what I'm saying? And that changed. You guys are emancipated now. If you want to have this conversation, I can have this conversation and show you some man insight. I'd be more than willing to do so. And for the people watching this, tell us what you think. What you think happened and which ladies do you want to approach?
That's today's chapter of the Sigma Chronicles. Subscribe for more unfiltered reality.